Ahoj. My name is Tomasz Dziuda. I'm from Poland. I am currently working as a lead developer in Gavik Pro. It is a company which creates WordPress themes and Joomla templates. I was also a co-organizer of the WordCamp Poland last year. I have a blog about WordPress development under my domain dziudek.pl. You can find an English translation of my most interesting topics at our company blog, gavik.com/blog. And today I will talk about a very important topic, which is theme customizer. As I said, we are creating WordPress themes, so it is very important for us for creating a very intuitive interface for our users. I will talk about this part of the dashboard, exactly about the left side, because it gives the most possibilities for the team developers. And first of all, we should answer for a very important question. Why using the theme customizer is very useful for the developers and users? So, first of all, the user can have a live preview of the setting change. And if user will change some settings, on the preview on the right side of the theme customizer, it will be visible directly. So it's a very convenient way for testing theme settings. Also, for us as developers, it's a very easy way for implementing the theme options, because theme customizer API currently is very complete. It contains a very useful features, and in my opinion, it can be used for achieving a very interesting effects. I will cover some interesting parts of the theme customizer in this presentation. Okay, we will wait for setup. Very interesting feature is a fact that the user will see the changes on the live side only if he click the Save and Publish button. So user can test very strange configuration, and the changes won't be visible for the internet user till the Save and Publish button will be clicked. It is also very useful for the team developers, because you can click and configure your interface. In example, okay, we will have a bigger setup. Okay. So, as developers, we can test a strange configuration of the theme. In example, I have an idea for a project where I will use a Casper.js library, and then the interface will be tested. We should remember that if we have a standard setting page, we have to test our theme two panels, two tabs with setting page and another tab with the theme preview. So theme customizer makes the test process much simpler, because user we'll see everything in one screen, and developer too. And we can use, in example, Casper.js for creating a screenshots of the website after applying some changes in the theme customizer. And I'm working on a project where we will create test cases for the team and make a screenshot, so user will be able to compare the changes on the screen. And in example, we can also use an image comparison library for comparing the results after, in example, CSS changes in the theme. And the last important thing is the fact that theme customizer is a consistent user interface and user experience for WordPress users. So we have no more additional pages with settings for every theme. Few days ago, if you have downloaded some premium themes, every premium theme have a setting page, and every setting page was different. Now we have one UI, one user experience. It's, in my opinion, the biggest advantage of the theme customizer. I would like to share with you 4 practical advices from my life as a developer. First of all, you should remember that you can create a lot of settings in the theme customizer, but every additional option causes that the risk that your user will ask you about configuration grows exponentially. So even if you have panels and sections for grouping the controls, you should remember that we shouldn't overuse it, because it will cause support questions and more work for us as a developer and supporting these users. You should also remember that providing for a user a lot of color options will cause a big problems with the layout. Yes, some users can create a disaster from your team because giving a full control on every color used in the team can cause results like that. And in my opinion, we should create 2 or 3 primary colors, and other colors should be generated based on these 2 or 3 variants. It is a much more convenient way. Of course, more advanced users won't be happy, but they probably will know how to change it in the CSS. You should also remember that team customizers have great possibilities, but with great possibilities, we have also great responsibility. You can, of course, create custom CSS code for your team customizer interface, but please remember, dashboard will accept anything, user won't. So we should avoid the same way which we have a few years ago, because we can create quite different panels and user can be confused with different interfaces. It's a big advice for people who think that are great developers. I reviewed few teams on the official WordPress.org repository, and I have discovered that some people have an idea to implement things which are already implemented in the WordPress API. Of course, you can reinvent the wheel, but in my opinion, the code which is reviewed by hundreds of developers, maintained and tested and used by these developers usually works better. So how does it work? So it is a team customizer once again. On the right side, we have an iframe. It's a very important fact because it causes that the code from our team won't influence the left side. And this iframe is connected with the interface by 2 ways. Standard way is a refresh way. So when we are changing the setting, the preview is refreshed after around 1 to 2 seconds. And it is a default setting for every control. But you can also use a JavaScript data binding, and then the settings will change directly the preview without refreshing them. I will show you how to achieve it in my later slides. We have also a conditional tag is preview. It can be used if you want to check if the theme is displayed in the preview of the theme customizer screen. The very important action is WP head. In this action, we will put our CSS code, which is based on the theme settings. A second important action is a customize register. For this action, we are using this action for put our whole code responsible for the interface on the left side. We have also a customize preview init action. In this action, we can put a lot of code which will be used in example for JavaScript data binding. It will be outputted on the end of our theme in the preview. And there is also customized controls and quiet scripts. This action can be used if you want to put your custom JavaScript code for controls on the left side. Let's look at the structure of the left side of the theme customizer. The main object is a customize manager. This object holds handlers for every visual element and also settings in the theme customizer. It also creates a standard parts like color, site title, and tagline section. It is used if you are adding some feature to your theme, because some panels are created by the WordPress if you use the add feature function. Panel is the highest element in the hierarchy in the theme customizer. It can be used to group sections. Section can store controls. Controls is a part where we can create the most effective visual elements, because you can have a full control over the control display. And setting is directly connected with a control. It is a connector between graphical user interface and the database. Every visual element in the theme customizer have a context. Context can be used for display the elements only on the specific subpages of the preview. So in example, we can display some section only if we will display a single page item. I will show you how it works because it is my favorite feature of the theme customizer. Short review of the syntax. If we want to create the code for the theme customizer, we will use the customize register action. So we are create a prefixed function. and we are adding an action for the customized register. Very important element is this argument. This argument is responsible for the connection to the customized manager object. So with this variable, we have an access to other elements. And we are using this object in our other methods evaluation. In example, this is the method which will add a visual element or a setting, because add x, where x is setting, panel, section, or control. The syntax is the same for every method with add. So first argument is a name, and second argument is an associative array with the params. There's also another syntax for this method, and I will cover it in the later slides. We have also a getX method. This method can be used for getting an object from the customized manager, so we can get an access for an existing element. And of course, we can remove elements with the removeX method. Are using the name provided in the first argument of the addX method for reference to other elements. This is a table with available params. Quite interesting is the fact that only one param is common for every element. It's a type param, and it is common for every element since the last version of WordPress 4.1. Before, it was available only for the control and setting. So if I'm talking about types, we should review the available types of controls. So it's a screen with the most important ones. And we have also more complex controls. In example, color picker, image upload, and this controls uses a different syntax for the add control method. And if we need to create more controls, we can use the type param. How? There is a code which adds a control. We can change the type param to the range. It's a standard HTML5 form control. We can use any HTML5 type of control. So in example, telephone, email, you can put everything in this field, which is appropriate for the input element in the HTML5. And we have also the input attires associative array. In this array, we can put additional attributes like class, min, max, and step attributes. It will be outputted to the control. It is available, if I remember, from WordPress 3.9. So we can create the slider element, number element, native color picker, or native date picker. But there is a small problem. If you know this website, it is a can I use website where you can check if any element have support in a specific browser. So the HTML more complex element usually have bad support in the most popular browsers. And in this case, we should create a custom control. And how to create it? I will base on a very simple case with Texaria. I know Texaria is available as a control in the theme customizer, but I want to create a much more slides with the code. So it is most complex slide with the code in my presentation. And it will only show you the basic idea of the creating own custom controls. So we are creating a class which extends WP customized control class. By the way, for the panel or section, you will use WP customized section or WP customized panel class. Then we are defining the type public attribute with Texaria value. And the most important part is the render content method. This method will output the whole control code. First of all, we are checking if the label param is available. If yes, we are outputting the proper span element with the label value. Secondly, we are creating the description, if available. Description is available for every element in the theme customizer, so you can add description for panel, section, or control. And finally, the Texaria element. This tag contains two important methods, link and value. Link is responsible for the JavaScript data binding. Without it, the control cannot be used with JavaScript option value. And value method returns the current value of the control. So without it, when you save your control, you will see empty control value after every refreshing of the theme customizer. And how to add this custom control? This syntax will be used also for the color picker or image upload control. So first of all, we have only one argument in this case, and it is an instance of our newly created class. This is the customized text area control. Then we are providing the WP customizer, customize manager object, and name of the control. And finally, the associative array with params. How to use the context, my favorite feature of the theme customizer. It can be used for hiding unnecessary options, so we can limit amount of options in the theme customizer because some developers are creating a lot of options, usually not necessary for the user in specific moment. We can create options which will be dedicated only for the specific subpages, as I showed in the review of the elements. And finally, the biggest feature, you can create a controls which will be connected with other options values. So we can hide some options and display it only if the user specifies a value for a different control. There's an example. We have controls for selecting the fonts in our website, and we want to add display an additional field with Google Web Fonts URL only if the user will select the Google font value in this selector. And how to achieve it? We are using the active callback param. It will contain a reference to our custom function. And this custom function looks like this. So it contains one argument. It's a control handler. And we will use our knowledge about the theme customizer structure to receive a value of the different control. So we are creating the option variable, and we are referencing to the control, which have a handler for the customize manager. Because every element in the theme customizer have a handler for the customize manager object, and of course, customize manager have a handler for the every element. We are using the customize manager object and the getSetting method. And now we have in the option variable the handler for a specific different option. And we are returning a Boolean value, which is true only if the option value is Google. There is a small problem with this feature because we can, in example, use as active callback is front page method. It will work fine because it doesn't accept any argument. But if you want to use the isSingle or isSingular methods, conditional tags, then you will have a problem. Why? Because this methods gets additional argument, and active callback will return you a control handler as an argument. So this conditional tag will return a false in every case. We have to fix it. We are creating a wrapper function which return the conditional tag function without any arguments. Let's talk about live preview. It's a great feature, especially for this kind of control. By default, as I said, we have a refresh method of the display a preview of the control value. So in this case, when user moving the color picker, the changes will be visible with delay. So user changes the color, waits 1-2 seconds, and the results is visible in the preview. We can fix it because we have to change the setting param, the transport param exactly. By default, it's set to refresh, and we are setting it to the post message value. And then, if you add some specific JavaScript code, then with every move of the color picker, the changes will be visible directly in the theme customizer. How to achieve it? First of all, we have to create additional file of JavaScript and put it to our custom my theme customize preview.js function, which you use the WP enquire script function. Then we are using the customize preview init action, and we are evaluating then our function. The code for the JavaScript file is following. We are using the highest order function for saving the global namespaces. Then we are using the WP customize object, which is a user for the JavaScript API part of the theme customizer. We are setting as the first argument name of our control option. And then we have as a second argument the binding function. We are binding the value with function, and then we are evaluating jQuery code which will change elements color. But there is an optimization problem because we can use it for easy case where we are changing all links. But if you have a lot of elements with different selectors, with different CSS properties, then we have the performance problem. How to solve it? Most of the code is the same as in the previous case. I have removed the jQuery code. we are getting the default value of the final value for the control. We are creating a string which contains selectors and final value of the color, and it will be our whole CSS code for the website. We are checking if the previous CSS code exists. If yes, we are removing it. And then we are adding to the head section the new style element with our rendered code. Before, we can have thousands of the DOM manipulation operation. We can have style attribute manipulations. After this modification, we have, in the pessimistic case, only 2 DOM manipulation operations, and there is no manipulation with the style attribute. So for the mobile devices, in example, like iPad, it's a very great performance update. And the last part of my presentation is connected with a very important and fresh topic, which is connected with the JavaScript API. It is still developed. I do hope that in the 2 next versions of WordPress, we will have a complete JavaScript API, which will give us full control over the theme customizer. Now, it's quite limited. In example, you cannot create a control by JavaScript. You still have to do with PHP. If anybody knows a method to create a control directly with JavaScript API now, in latest version of WordPress, please share this knowledge with me, because I was unable to achieve this effect. So, with JavaScript API, we have a few possibilities. We have access to all elements in the theme customizer. We can re-render existing items. We can modify existing items. In example, we can move it in the ordering, the sections for the controls. And we have also a great event tracking, and we have also the control over the preview area. So we can, in example, refresh the preview directly with JavaScript code. This is the most important code for the theme customizer, because you should remember, you cannot just evaluate your JavaScript code for the theme customizer. Because if you will use the jQuery DOM ready event, then most probably the theme customizer interface won't be ready for the changes. So we have to wait for the moment where theme customizer interface will be prepared for the changes. How? We are creating a function which is used with the action customize control print scripts. It is another action similar to the enquire scripts method, but in this case we are outputting the JavaScript code directly to the theme customizer. We are creating a standard jQuery code connected with the DOM content loaded event. And finally, the most important part, we are using the WP customize object. We are binding it with the ready event, and we are putting our whole theme customizer code with JavaScript manipulations to this function. Few examples. WP customize is, of course, the standard part of every call. You can put this object to the API variable to short your code, and then we are evaluating opening the section. So we are evaluating section colors method, and then expand method. You can also, in example, change priority of the control. The syntax is similar, but we are using the control method and the priority method. And you can also change a section for the specific control. So we are moving the blog name control to the colors section. And my favorite one, it is connected with fact that more complex control like color picker or image upload uses JavaScript templates. And it can be re-rendered in an easy way. We are create a reference to the specific control, in this case background control color. Then we are changing the param, the label in this example. And then we are evaluating 2 methods. First of all, render content, which will modify and render the JavaScript template. And then we are evaluating the ready method, which will output our results to the theme customizer. And using this way, you haven't to use the DOM manipulation. You can use just the params, which are an example in the PHP API for the theme customizer. This is a reading list. I have created a lot of articles about theme customizer in English, so you haven't to read a Polish article. And of course, this presentation will be available on the SlideShare, so don't worry, you haven't to take a photo. Dziękuję. And it is time for a question. I have for the brave people some gadgets. So first, 3 person which will ask me a question connected with the topic of the presentation will receive small gadget. So I'm waiting if somebody is brave. Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have any live example which you can show us how this theme customization works?
Yes, I think I can display it. Okay, I will show it because I have installed some theme last time. Okay, small screen, but it will work. It will be a very simple example because I have only simple theme installed in my local host, but I do hope that it will be enough. Okay, it's a theme. Sorry for the small screen, maybe I will make it a full screen. Oh, much more. That's why I have said that you shouldn't put not much options because you will have a very long list to scroll. And an example I will show you how it looks. Oh, this is a color, and I have used a JavaScript data binding, so the colors are changing directly after my changes. So it uses the code which I have mentioned in the live preview part of my presentation. There's also font options. Oh, you can see a live example of the change. Oh, I have destroyed something because I have tested, sorry. Yes, because I have discovered a different method of evaluating the code, and that's why probably it won't work. Yes, it's a lot of errors, sorry for that. But it should work because the control is hide with animation, sliding animation when you are changing the option. But unfortunately, I should now review the code because there is an experiment. That's why I have installed this control. You have the standard controls, which, in example, I will find it here. Okay, image pause. There is unfortunately no internet, so some controls look ugly. Okay, an example, I'm changing it to the image pose. Unfortunately, I have JavaScript errors, so another field is not displayed. Sorry about that. There's also a widget management. The same way will be used for the menu management in the WordPress 4.2 if it will be accepted as a feature plugin. So you can manage the widgets in the bottom area, so you can lively change it in your website. So it is quite useful, and menus will be also available in the same way. Sorry that it's not working as I accepted, but experiments. Oh, by the way, this is a feature of the WordPress 4.0. Before, if you change the WordPress theme customizer area, and if you close it, there is no message, and you can lose your changes in your theme. And now there is a pop-up where you can make sure that you are sure that you don't want to destroy your changes. So you can stay on the same page.
And my next question, if I have a nice template with nice graphic, can I use this customizer to change any items? My client probably wants to change a color, and I had default color of text on my template. And can I change, or can my client change this color of text with this feature?
Yes, of course, because you have to apply. I have showed in my example because the primary color. Of course, it changes the link color, but you can use the same way for the text selector, and then you can apply the CSS code, which will base it on the specific text color control.
Okay, so I make template from PSD from Adobe or some graphic template, and then can use this customizer for next change which my customer want.
You can use it in every theme because by default it is available for every theme. Every theme has an add feature method which adds some basic section like header, background image, like site and tagline, site title and tagline. And by default, even if you doesn't use the theme customizer API in your theme, it will create some basic functions, and you can add additional options. The very simple case of using the theme customizer API is the default themes of the WordPress, like 2014 or 2015. I recommend for reading the source code. All theme customizer methods are put in the include folder, and then you can check the simple code because there is not much code in the standard themes, but it's quite useful. In example, in the 2014 theme, the developers decide to create a JavaScript data binding for the site title and tagline options, because by default it refreshed by the preview refresh. And they change only some params by the getSetting method. So you can apply it to your every theme, and your team uses the theme customizer by default, but with less options, because you doesn't create more options by the theme customizer API.
Okay, for every theme, I must create a specific customizer.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Yes.
Thanks. I was just wondering, since there are, as you say, you can use many options, make available many options. Do you do some usability testing or some research on what to use, how to use it, how to organize the panel on the left?
Unfortunately, I didn't prepare an usability testing yet, but it is also a quite interesting topic. But in general, as I said, we have panels which can be used for grouping the options. Usually, I recommend for the team developers that it is quite useful to create a separate section for, in example, page template. So I'm creating a contact page template in my team, and then we are creating the section which will contain options only for this part of the website, and it will be visible only when the user go to the contact page. Unfortunately, I don't know if it will cause a problem like the user won't know that there are some options for the contact page, and it is interesting. But you can, in example, create a small tutorial using the JavaScript API about the available options, because as I showed, you can, in example, show the specific section, expand it, and I have even create a small tutorial how to create a binding between some items. It's one of my articles. When user creates a description and link to the specific section in the description. So in example, we are creating a section, you can find more options. With description, you can find more options for a specific subpages, and then you are creating direct links. And with JavaScript API, we are redirecting user to a specific subpage, and we are expanding a specific option. We have also, in example, a focus option, so we can scroll programmatically the theme customizer screen to a specific area. So it's a good question because, yes, if user won't read the documentation, and in most cases it won't read, then he can even don't know that there are some options. By the way, very funny fact, I have created a theme which has no sidebars on the front page. And I have very surprised that there is no widget area. Yes, because, wow, I have implemented a special feature in the theme functions PHP file, and there is no widgets panel. Why? Because there was no sidebars visible on this specific subpage. And after redirecting to other subpage, I have discovered that the widgets area appears. So it can be quite confusing, but there is the only way when we can manage the amount of options the theme customizer. So the only way I can recommend creating small tutorial in some specific section, which will contain a short review of the possibilities for the users.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a second, I will just make it like this. You have this active callback, and there's a default, and you said you replace it with post message.
Yes, because
Post message.
post message is connected with JavaScript data binding, because by default transport is set to refresh, and it's changing. I do hope that it will work. You see, it takes a time. If I will use the JavaScript binding, it will change directly while I'm typing every letter. And now it's refreshing and adds the whole text to the theme. I hope that is work like that, because I don't remember if I don't use post message here as like in the 2014 theme. But the post message is an information from JavaScript API that the option value will be sent by JavaScript, not by the evaluating the refreshing of the preview of the screen. So by default, preview will be always refreshed after option change. With JavaScript data binding, it will be not refreshed, and JavaScript code will be responsible for the displaying the changes in the theme preview.
So summed up, you have on one side the complete refresh,
Yes.
replacing it by refresh by ID or by whatever.
You have two possibilities, refreshing and JavaScript data binding.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what exactly you're binding.
You are binding the control value. Of course, you can decide which will be binded, yes? Because in example, you can use the onChange event. And then, usually for the text control, there is used the onChange event. But of course, if you are creating a custom control, you will have to prepare a custom JavaScript code which will be used for the JavaScript data binding. It's not predefined. You have to create your own JavaScript code, and you can acquire some JavaScript files with the control class.
Hi, I have two questions.
Okay.
Do you use some kind of framework or wrapper for for the customizer?
For the theme customizer, I still work for a framework, because for me the most annoying fact is the adding for every control two methods, add setting and add control. It's quite not optimized away, so I would like to optimize this process. I have an idea to create a JSON file which will store all properties and will create automatically the theme customizer code, but unfortunately I have not enough time to develop it fastly. But there is an example Kirky framework which...
Yeah, I noticed some that are out there, some of these, but
Yes. So,
I never use them, so I'm just
personally,
asking if you have some experience with.
Personally, I'm only reviewed some possibilities of the Kirky, and I have never discovered that they have the same features which I have described in my articles, like replacing descriptions with tooltips and specific icon for the tooltip. But there are few frameworks, as I know, for the theme customizers, so it should be reviewed. I'm working on my own. Because the code which is generated when you have a more complex theme customizer panel, it's quite confusing because it's like spaghetti code. So if you want to avoid it, you should prepare some own solution or test the existing frameworks. I don't remember the names of but I can search in the internet if you will be interested, and I can show you some cases after presentation.
Yeah, I was just curious if you have some favorite or something like
Okay.
that. If you tried some really like in production or something like that.
Currently in the development process only.
Oh, all right. My second question is, do you have some favorite implementation of customizer in some theme?
In general, every implementation of the theme customizer is my favorite because it always make the user life easier.
I mean, if you met some theme who did really good or
In general, I'm developing only my teams. I'm meeting these teams on my everyday. I'm not reviewing other teams. In general, the most popular teams still uses the additional setting page because this teams was created a few years ago, and it's hard to move all options to the new way with Team Customizer by easy code. So I think that it will need a huge refactor of the code. And I'm afraid that Avada can have problems with it because, as I remember, there's a lot of options, and I don't believe it is possible to put everything to the Team Customizer, in my opinion. I don't have some favorites ones, especially. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Every is a favorite.
How reusable is the customizer code? Can I, for example, take the whole preview logic to a custom post type to create my own previews from a post editor screen?
Once again, about the post editor screen, you want to put the preview of the.
For example, there are post types like maybe products or projects where I have a lot of custom fields, and the expected output on the front end is a combination of these fields and some
understand.
After running. So I'd like to have a preview directly underneath the post editor to show what happens if I input the different user post metadata, what happens on the front end. So can I reuse just the customizer code, the JavaScript?
I think it's possible because you can put your dedicated code with the isPreview conditional tag, and then you can put the whole JavaScript code at the end of the theme, and then display additional interface. Of course, you will have to use the Ajax for refreshing the data in the database directly from the preview interface. It will be quite complicated because Team Customizer focuses only on the left side, so on the options available in the controls. But in my opinion, it's possible. I'm working on an example where user will be able to edit items directly in the Team Customizer. I do hope that I will be able to finish this article in this month, or not this month, next month, because February is too short. And maybe I will publish the result then, but it's quite complicated. It's not easy because there is no only the Team Customizer API, you have also used JavaScript Ajax to connect database with the changes in the Team Customizer.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Everybody? Oh.
I've seen that you were changing post format, and that's not a DEM feature. It's a post feature. So do you believe that the DEM customizer is ready or should be used for changing single posts, like changing title or post format?
As I know, there was an idea to create a front-end editor in the WordPress in the current version. Unfortunately, this feature as a plugin wasn't merged to the core, but most probably it's possible. It's quite connected with the previous question because it will be used the same way. Ajax calls, which will store the changes. So in my opinion, it's possible. In general, it's quite interesting topic for me because I also create a few presentations about TinyMC. And TinyMC is strictly connected with the post-edited editor on the front end. And I would like to create an article which will connect these two topics, TinyMC and Team Customizer, on the front end. So if I will finish this article, it will be available for sure in our blog. But currently, I cannot say more because most probably there will be few problems during the implementation, as always, because it's quite complicated. Thank you very much for your question. Thank you for your attention. And the people who ask me, the four person who ask me the question, please go. I will give you the gadgets. Thank you very much.